here, and in this video journal I'll start bending the sides and the bindings for the 3-piece walnut build that I've been working on. So keep watching. Well, I've set the shop up now to start doing bending, 2 sets of sides and 2 sets of bindings. I've prepared the sides first. The side, of course, has been trimmed on the side that will be actually the back, and then the top will be flat. So when I bend these sides, I need to make sure that I'm put them in the bender in the proper orientation, or I'm going to end up with 2 left or 2 right sides, and I don't want to do that. So I've marked, the back is on the top on this one and on this side on this one. So I've put a little white chalk mark that will line up with the marks that I placed on my paper sandwiches. Well, I'll show you those. This is just a sandwich. I'm calling it a sandwich. It's a piece of aluminum foil and then parchment paper that the side will fit into once it's been steamed. So the process is to steam the sides for about 15 minutes, spritz them once they come out with warm water, place them in the sandwich, and then take them over to the bender and start the bending process. As long as I've got all my bending supplies out, I will go ahead and bend the bindings as well, and the same process will go for those, although I will not put these in the steamer. Same type of thing, a sandwich that's made out of parchment paper, aluminum foil, and then the bindings will go on the inside. I've got the steam box on, and it's been on for a few minutes to let it warm up. I've got about 187 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm starting to see some steam now, so that means that we're really where we need to be. I'm going to go ahead and take some warm water and spritz the side, and then just go ahead and make sure I've got my center mark oriented to where my sandwich is going to be. And then I'll just go ahead and carefully open this up because that's steaming in there. Slide it in. And then I'm going to set a timer, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, somewhere around there. Been 10 minutes in the steamer. And give it a good spritz. Make sure that my center mark is lined up on my sandwich right here. And then quickly take it over to the bender. My bottom slat, and then lined up in the blanket on the top slat. I'm just going to take some little clamps, clamp this package together, and turn my blanket on. It heats up pretty quick, so this process needs to go fairly quickly here. And then into the bender. Line my center line up with the center of the bender. And down until we just make contact with the sides. And then I'm going to put a temperature probe in there, in the sandwich. And the same on this side. Side pieces. I'm already at 200 degrees. So I'll slide that top down just a little bit. I'm going to come down to this end now. Slowly start working on my door bout. Okay. And then my upper bout. Top, of course, is a little sharper bend. There we go. I have a 15-minute timer connected to the temperature controller on my bending blanket. And so I'm just going to let that, keep an eye on that, not let that get above 300, and just let the timer run for 15 minutes. Well, it's time to remove the side from the mold. It's actually set overnight, so I didn't have time to get back to it yesterday. So. There we go. All right. There's one side. Got a nice bend and no burn spots, which I was a little worried about. Now that I've gotten one side bent, I'm going to go ahead and clamp it into the mold. Okay, with my side bent, I'm going to go ahead and put it into the mold with the top side facing down. And I'm going to go ahead and clamp it in place. Okay. The sides are still just a little bit damp because they've been sitting in that mold, the bending mold, and they didn't have a chance to thoroughly dry out. So they'll dry out even further here, clamped into this half mold. I'll go ahead and now start doing bending the other set, the other side for this walnut set. And then I'll trim the ends right here on both of them, and then I can start gluing on my blocks. I have both of the sides bent for the three-piece walnut, and I have them both clamped into the mold. And the next thing I need to do is go ahead and trim the excess off of each side. And then I can start assembling the blocks. With all my little overhang pieces of the sides cut off now, I've got them back into the mold, and it's time to start working on gluing the blocks in. And I want to go ahead and sand just a little bit where the blocks are going to meet the sides. Just to get those areas nice and smooth and to get all the fuzz that might be left on there from having them being wet and bent in the benders. I've already done all the other sides. Okay, with the sides in the mold, next thing I want to do is actually go ahead and put some wax paper between the sides and the outside of the mold so that when I glue the blocks on, I don't glue it all to the mold. All right, with all those in place now, I can go ahead and start working on trimming the blocks down just a little bit and then gluing them on. I'm going to go ahead and start working on bending the bindings. And I don't do the same way with my bindings as I do with the sides. I do not put them in the steamer. Just going to give them a liberal soaking on both sides. And just kind of let that soak in. I probably could have just made a bigger sandwich to put them both in side by side, but I didn't, so I'll just use these. And put that one together. All right. Take both of these over to the bender. The bindings are ready to take out of the mold. So move the temperature probes first, get them out of the way. All right. There is the oven core. And there's the curly koa. Well, I've unwrapped the bindings from the bending mold and I'm ready to store them away till I'm ready to use them. I go ahead and bend my bindings now at the same time that I bend my sides so that I don't have to pull everything out and do that process again later. And I've made a little half mold that I use to clamp the bindings in just to make sure that they keep their shape. Okay. Now I can just tuck this out of the way until I get ready to start binding the body. Well, that concludes the bending process on these walnut sides and the bindings. Next time I'll start working on the blocks and the end pin graft. If you like the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification icon, and there's a link below where you can support the channel if you'd like. And thank y'all so much for watching.